Good evening. We request everyone to kindly take their seats as the dignitaries have arrived, and we shall begin shortly. Fali Sam Nariman, bright by name, brighter by deed. Namaskar, and a very good evening to everyone present here at the Chief Justice Gati Krushna Misra Auditorium of the Odisha Judicial Academy, Cuttack. We have gathered here today for a special program that is remembering Fali Sam Nariman, senior advocate and jurist, and his contribution to the growth of justice delivery system in India, in the gracious presence of His Lordship Honorable Shri Justice Chakradhari Sharan Singh, Chief Justice, High Court of Orissa, and Patron-in-Chief of the Odisha Judicial Academy, and the august presence of the Honorable Judges, High Court of Orissa. We are also grateful to the Advocate General of the State of Odisha, the Deputy Solicitor General of India for the High Court of Orissa, the President of the Odisha High Court Bar Association, the esteemed members of the Registry, High Court of Orissa, the judicial officers of the State of Odisha, as well as the esteemed members and office bearers of the State Bar for their presence in this program. May I now humbly request His Lordship Honorable Shri Justice Chakradhari Sharan Singh, Chief Justice, High Court of Orissa, and Patron-in-Chief, Odisha Judicial Academy, His Lordship Honorable Dr. Justice Bidyut Ranjan Sarangi, Judge, High Court of Orissa, His Lordship Honorable Shri Justice Debabrata Das, Judge, High Court of Orissa, and Chairman, Odisha Judicial Academy and Training Committee, His Lordship Honorable Dr. Justice Sanjeev Kumar Panigrahi, Judge, High Court of Orissa, and Member, Odisha Judicial Academy and Training Committee, Shri Ashok Kumar Parija, the Advocate General, Odisha, Shri Prasanna Kumar Pari, the Deputy Solicitor General of India for the High Court of Orissa, and Shri Dharanidhar Nayak, President, Odisha High Court Bar Association, to kindly adorn the dais, and I request the esteemed Registrar General, High Court of Orissa, and the esteemed Additional Director, Odisha Judicial Academy, to kindly conduct the distinguished dignitaries to the dais. Thank you. Commencing with the program, I now humbly request the honorable dignitaries on the dais to kindly pay their floral tribute to the eminent Fali Sam Nariman, to remember, celebrate, and honor the life of this towering figure etched forever in the archives of Indian jurisprudence. Thank you. Moving forward with the program, I now humbly request His Lordship, Honorable Dr. Justice Sanjeev Kumar Panigrahi, Judge, High Court of Orissa, and member, Odisha Judicial Academy and Training Committee, to kindly deliver the opening remarks. Your Lordship, please.
Good evening, everybody. Honorable Chief Justice, Justice Chakradhari, Sharan Singh, all the judges of Odisha High Court, all the dignitaries present here. This is a occasion, though we are not celebrating any kind of condolence function. This is a tribute to a great man who was not only an intellect, a great intellectual giant, a titan of the law, and who epitomized the intellect combined with dignity, grace, and an uncompromising commitment to justice. He and his work will remain an inspiration and a guiding light for all those who believe in the cause of justice and democracy. The legal fraternity is intellectually poorer today. Such intellectual giants don't die. They remain immortal through their contribution. There cannot be and will not be another Fali Nariman on this earth. Nariman was many things, and so it was difficult to speak about a colossal. He was a man of many roles, and in every role that he left an indelible mark. As a nominated Rajya Sabha MP by the President of India for legal excellence, he also proved to be an exceptional parliamentarian. His interventions, debates, mentioned and private member bills such as the Judicial Statistics Bill, Disruption Proceedings of Parliament, Members Bill, etc., are yet remembered by the parliamentarian across the country. This portrays his undying commitment to democracy, which has been considered a great contribution to the parliament. Moreover, out of many professional accolades he received, he was awarded with Padma Bhushan 1991, Padma Vibhushan in 2007, and Gruber Prize for Justice in 2002. Throughout his career, spanning for 75 years, he has been a staunch defender of the true spirit of and form of Indian Constitution, starting from the case of Golaknath to the case of the National Judicial Appointment Commission, which reinstated the collegium system for judicial appointment, thereby restoring the independence of judiciary at every moment whenever there was a chance to defend. Nariman's extraordinary ability to get to the heart of the legal issue from the morass of paperwork and dithering briefers, this skill made him one of India's finest constitutional law advocates. His clear-eyed submissions and focus on reliefs stood out in the field often crowded with appeals to vague notions of justice. In Delhi city, where loyalties are most ephemeral, but to a personality like Nariman, the fundamental rights of the citizen is more important than any loyalty. He exemplified his prowess at the bar even at the age of 86, and his unwavering commitment to an independent judiciary for which he had fought for much of his time. He divided the judges into three categories, one with a political agenda, one with a social one, and one with no agenda. Most Indian judges, he felt, fell into three categories, and the judiciary was better for it. Nariman's formula for that ideal mix in the higher judiciary was 3/4 problem solvers and 1/4 crusaders. The veteran senior advocate always says you can criticize the judgment of Supreme Court, but you cannot criticize the institution. Once you do that, there will be earthquake. So he is a great jurist, and we always remember him as one of the finest champion of fundamental rights, and I welcome all of you to hear the speakers here. And more importantly, we had a great opportunity. I feel myself privileged. We have an opportunity to interact with him and also brief him in a few occasions. So that reminds he is always he has been a great, towering personality in the Indian judiciary and in the Indian judicial system, and a great jurist. Thank you. I just conclude my speech with this.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for your illuminating words. I now request Shri Prasanna Kumar Pari, the Deputy Solicitor General of India for the High Court of Orissa, to kindly address this august gathering. So please.
Honorable Chief Justice Chakradhari Sharan Singh, Justice Dr. B.R. Sarangi, Honorable Justice Debrata Das, Honorable Justice S.K. Panigrahi, Lord Advocate General, who in the desk, and President Mr. Dhanendra Naik, who is also in the desk, Honorable Judges of our High Court, the Judicial members, Honorable Chairman, Vice Chairman and members of the Bar Council, the Office Bearer of the High Court Bar Association, as well as senior advocates who are present here, Samasto Namaskar. I am a kid before the person whom I want directed to have some word before this legal junaries. I don't know how I am capable to speak about him. He is a person with eminent advocate knowledge, senior advocate. He is a jurist. He is the inspirer of the youngsters as regard to the practice of the junior advocacy is concerned. And he is a person to whom, if anybody seen him, such a lovely personality he is. And he is loving everybody just like his son. I have occasion to meet twice. And he is a person, he has defended many cases in Supreme Court, especially in constitutional matter. Usually he is known as a international level, as a international arbitration. He is expert in that hand. He has written many books also. This most important thing is this subject was given before us. He was the advocate in Bhopal guest tragedy. He has appeared on behalf of Union Carbide. Later he came to know that I made a mistake. And we can't believe he has organized himself to organize all of them, how it will be settled out of court. He will take all sort of efforts in this regard. This is the humanity of this Justice Nariman. He is elected, he is nominated as a member of parliament from 1990 to 2005. And he was Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and many other awards, uncountable. He is a person of such personality, we can't elaborate here in our level. He is awarded by the Tama Foundation, and he started his practice and he has completed for 70 years out of his 95 years of his age, and he declared his senior advocate in 1971. And whatever he has done, it can be done by a great soul. I am not going back to say anything. He is a great soul for all, and he can recognize for everywhere, because in your common talking, we are talking that you are not the Palikwala or the Nariman. These comments is coming everywhere, so we know the person, what level he is. Another example I have given, he was appointed as the Additional Solicitor General. When the Indira Gandhi declared emergency, he resigned in 75. On 26 June, he has resigned on the ground that I can't abide by this illegal practice. Such a person he is. We must salute him in all respect. He is an asset for us. He is a eminent person for guide for us. So I am conclude my speech in these few lines, and we are eager to listen all these things. My jurist who is sitting and he speak further.
Thank you, sir. I now request Shri Dharanidhar Naik, President, Orissa High Court Bar Association, to kindly address this distinguished gathering. Sir, please.
Good evening, everybody. Honorable Sri Justice Chakradhari Sharan Singh, Chief Justice of Odisha High Court, Dr. Justice B.R. Sarangi, Justice Devabrat Das, Honorable Justice S. Panigrahi, Honorable Judges present here, Sri Ashok Kumar Parija, the esteemed Advocate General of the state, Sri Prasanna Kumar Padhi, the Deputy Solicitor General for the state of Odisha, senior advocates present here, Vice President, Secretary, Joint Secretary and members of the High Court Bar Associations, the Chairman of the Odisha State Bar Council, Sri Tanshu Mohan Dwivedi, the members of the Odisha State Bar Council, senior advocates, friends, and ladies and gentlemen. Sri Fali S. Nariman once said, "A lawyer doesn't retire, he drops dead." True to his words, Nariman was set to make a joint mention before the Supreme Court with the Attorney General R. Venkat Ramani the day he died, pertaining to a matter related to the arbitration law. Fali Sam Nariman was born on Thursday, January 10, 1929, at Rangoon in Burma, as the only child of Sam and Banu Nariman. They were in Burma because the father was the manager of a New India Assurance Company Limited branch, which he established there. Fali's childhood was a cloudlessly happy one, and he was, in a way, a spoiled child, as he himself notes in his memories. Things went on well till Second World War, when the Japanese invaded Burma, and a large number of people, including Nariman, fled to India. Fali Nariman started the general practice of law in 1950 as a trainee in the leading solicitor's firm of Bombay, Payne & Co. He then joined the most prestigious chamber of the legendary Sri Jamsetji Kanga. Nariman built up a large and lucrative practice, particularly in the commercial law and civil law. Indeed, he dominated the commercial court. He was briefed in different courts apart from the High Court and also in the Mafsari. He assisted both Ashok Sen and Nani Palkiwala in Gorakhnath case. Nariman was offered a High Court judgeship in 1966, though he was only 37 to 38 years old, and as required in those days, it had the express approval of the Chief Justice of India. He declined it for the personal reasons. Nariman argued several landmark cases during his illustrious career of 70 years and was appointed the Additional Solicitor General of India, but resigned in protest when the Indira Gandhi government imposed emergency rule in June 1975. He received the Padma Bhushan in 1991 and the Padma Vibhushan in 2007. In the seminal case of Minerva Mills versus Union of India, Nariman's forceful argument played a pivotal role in establishing the basic structure doctrine, ensuring that the Constitution remains immune to arbitrary amendments. Nariman argued for Union Carbide in the Bhopal gas tragedy case. He helped make a deal that gave $470 million to the victims outside the court. But when he was asked if it was a mistake, he said yes. Having given up this chance to retire as the Chief Justice of India and later on an offer to be the Attorney General for India during the Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, he had but accepted at the insistence of his dear wife, Bapsi, to be nominated member of the Rajya Sabha in the year 1999. The loss to the judiciary became a gain to the parliament. President ranging from P. Venkataraman, K.R. Narayan, and Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam consulted him on the important constitutional issues. An excellent parliamentarian, Fali was the voice of the legal issues in the House. Like Ram Jethmalani, he was the great defender of the independence of the judiciary, both inside parliament and in the court. He has never shied away from criticizing the institutions of judiciary Supreme Courts, and when he felt that the basic structures of the constitutions was put to risk. Apart from Prime Minister Vajpayee, Deputy Prime Minister L.K. Advani, Lok Sabha Speaker Somnath Chatterjee, Dr. P.C. Alexander, and Dr. Karan Singh were some other members of the parliament from different political parties who admired Fali, the jurist. While reacting to his demise, lawyer Prasanta Bhushan called the Bhishma Pitamaha of the lawyers community. The passing away of the senior advocates Fali S. Nariman on 21st February 2024 at the age of 95 years is a great loss of the first generation of lawyers who started practice after the Constitution came into force. It will be difficult to fill the void anytime in the near future. With these words, I pay my sincere tribute to the great soul with a prayer to the Almighty. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you, sir. I now request Shri Ashok Kumar Parija, the Advocate General, Odisha, to kindly address this esteemed gathering. Sir, please.
Honorable Mr. Justice Chakradhari Sharan Singh, Chief Justice High Court of Orissa, Honorable Dr. Justice B.R. Sarangi, Judge High Court of Orissa, Honorable Mr. Justice Debabrata Das, Judge High Court of Orissa, Honorable Mr. Justice S. Panigrahi, S.K. Panigrahi, Justice, Judge High Court of Orissa, Honorable Judges of the High Court of the Dais, Mr. Prasanna Kumar Padi, Deputy Solicitor General of India for High Court of Orissa, my elder brother, Mr. Dharendra Naik, President of the High Court Bar Association, Chairman of the Odisha State Bar Council, Sri Sitanshu Dwivedi, and Vice Chairman, senior members of the bar, officials of the Odisha Judicial Academy, members of the registry, and my junior friends at the bar. At the outset, may I congratulate the Honorable Chief Justice for organizing this function, the first of its kind in our High Court, obviously to remember and pay homage to the one and only Fali Sam Nariman, by far the best constitutional expert and jurist this country has seen in the last several decades. Born on January 10, 29 in Rangoon, British Burma, Fali Sam Nariman's journey towards legal eminence began with his education at the Bombay University and then at the Government Law College, Mumbai. His profound intellect and unwavering commitment to justice soon propelled him into the corridors of legal profession, where he would become a towering figure renowned for his brilliance, integrity, and dedication to the rule of law. A day after declaration of the emergency, Mr. Nariman, then Additional Solicitor General at the Supreme Court, and in those days you had 3 law officers, the AG, SG, and 1 ASG, he put in his papers. A sequitur to that was that he had to vacate his official bungalow. A dissenter, being a part of the ruling dispensation, he was not entertained by many, and while searching for a new accommodation, to which Mr. Nariman had remarked, "It is better to be homeless than to be spineless." Mr. Nariman's legal career unfolded against the backdrop of a rapidly evolving Indian nation, grappling with complex legal challenges. As an advocate, he was fearless, championed the cause of civil rights, human rights, constitutional values. His eloquence in courtrooms, coupled with his profound understanding of law, earned him widespread respect and admiration. One of Mr. Nariman's most notable contributions lie in his role as a constitutional expert. His erudition and persuasive advocacy were instrumental in shaping judicial precedents and upholding the principles of democracy and justice. You have all heard about his contributions in Keshav Bhartinand's case, Indira Gandhi versus Rajnarayan, Menaka Gandhi versus Union of India, so on and so forth, a list which is non-exhaustive and which can go on and on. Beyond his courtroom successes, Mr. Nariman's influence extended to academia and legal scholarship. He authored several authoritative texts on constitutional law, enriching generations of legal minds with insights and wisdom. His lectures and writings served as beacons of entitlement and enlightenment, guiding aspiring lawyers and scholars towards a deeper understanding of legal principles and jurisprudence. Soliciting an advice to young juniors in his celebrated autobiography, Before the Memory Fades, Mr. Nariman had remarked, and I quote, "Parkinson's law, work expands as to fill the time available for its completion, applies in the legal profession more than in any other. The less work there is, the less inclination there is to put your mind to it. Consequently, less the experience gained, and less will be the work that will come your way, and so on in a downward spiral. The more work you have, the better application of mind, the greater sharpening of mental faculties, attracting a slew of work. Here, work means being occupied, not necessarily paid work. In the profession, the worst enemy of hard work is a fixed monetary reward, for there is simply no incentive to work hard, and when your senior pays you a regular stipend." He further writes, and I quote, "I am frequently asked by law students around the country as to how the lawyer must prepare for and argue an important case. The only appropriate answer I can offer is, as best as you can." Robert H. Jackson, who was the Solicitor General of the United States in 1930s, wrote, and after he became an Associate Justice of US Supreme Court, 1941 to 54, that as a practicing lawyer, he found that he made 3 arguments in every case. One he planned, logical, coherent, complete. The one he presented, incoherent, disjointed, and disappointing. And the one he did not make, the utterly devastating argument that I thought after going to bed that night, I often had the same feeling. This is what Mr. Nariman writes. And recently, my lords, I was appearing in the matter before my Lord the Chief Justice and Justice D. Das, and I missed out to cite a judgment of AP Christian College on the proposition that no mandamus can be issued against a statue, and I came home and all night I tore my hair that why I didn't do it. So whatever I'm reading is all from his autobiography, Before the Memory Fades, and I wish all of you read it at least once. In the same book, he writes, C.K. Daftari's advice to Mr. Nariman, which also finds mention in his autobiography, is also worth taking note. Mr. Nariman writes, citing C.K. Daftari, and I quote, "Always remember Fali." That is what Daftari says to Fali. "Always remember Fali. It is better to spend more time thinking about a case than merely reading the brief. This is an advice that I have found invaluable in my entire working life." So Mr. Nariman says this is what he found invaluable during his entire working life. And this autobiography was written in 2010. Commenting on the healthy relationship that should prevail between the bench and the bar, Mr. Nariman in his autobiography remarked, and I quote, "The entire edifice of the legal system exists and can survive only on the basis of mutual good faith between the bench and the bar." Mr. Nariman's commitment to public service extended beyond legal practice. He has served as a member of Rajya Sabha from 1999 to 2005, where he continued to advocate for democratic values and constitutional principles. On a personal note, my acquaintance with Mr. Nariman is almost 3.5 decades. I had numerous occasions to assist him and have conference with him in the Supreme Court and once before our High Court at Cuttack. I have endless memories of my long association. I will only flag a few. The first is his list of dates. His list of dates would improve every hour. He would go on correcting it, tearing it, throwing it, again and again doing one. And soon it was called the Nariman list of dates. And sometimes you would have 2 or 3 lists of dates, and in court he will shout at you, "Give me that list of dates." No one except he knew which one he was referring to. He was always determined to improve. He was open to hear everyone, including the client, and he always pushed young juniors like us to work hard and the whole team to work hard. He always believed and strived to bring out the best product to be presented before the court. Something I have seen here in late just Mr. Gangadhar Rath, our former Advocate General. He used to tell juniors like me, "Master your facts, the court knows the law, and look for the best few points in the case and not multiple points." Mr. Nariman was a master in reading the court and moderated his arguments accordingly. There was one case I was assisting him before Justice S.B. Majumdar. Like every lawyer who thinks that he must win the case, I also thought so. The judgment went against us. After a few months, I met him in one dinner, and I was itching to ask him what went wrong. Mr. Nariman that he is, he's read my mind. He didn't talk about the case at all. And while he was leaving, I said, "Sir, I'll see you off at the car." He patted me and said, "The judge is entitled to take another view." This was one learning I had, and whenever I went to any law school, this is one thing I said, that please understand the judge is entitled to take another view. And I think I am going to remember this all my life. All of you know there's a section 30 of the Advocates Act, and Mr. Nariman wrote in his autobiography, when the Advocates Act was passed in 1961, it was intended that lawyers should be entitled as a right to practice throughout India in all courts, in all tribunals and before all persons authorized to take evidence under section 30. It has been nearly 50 years since the law was enacted, but section 30 has not yet been brought to force. Now this book was lying on the table of Mr. Virappa Moili, who was the law minister, and I happened to be there because I was in the Bar Council of India, and I asked him, "Have you read this book?" He said, "I have read this book." Mr. Nariman always asks me that why 30 has not been notified. So I asked him, "Why don't you notify it?" Then he says the Bar Council is objecting to it. Now Mr. Jagannath Patnaik, who was earlier the chairman, he had told me that we have made several representations. So I told him, "Look, the Bar Council is not opposing it." He called for the file. He saw that Bar Council wanted 30 to be notified. And on 9th of June 2011, 1 year after his biography, 30 was notified. 2 days later, Mr. Nariman called me and thanked me. I said, "Don't thank me, thank your autobiography. That led to everything." That was Fali Nariman. And whenever I used to meet him, much later in life, he used to ask me one question: "How is Rath?" Rath means he referred to Gangadhar Rath. And then one day, while sitting in the Supreme Court premises, I told him Rath is no more. And he looked at me and said, he was a tiger. He was a very humble person also. There was a very young additional Solicitor General, Mr. Harin Rawal, and one day he shouts at him at court. And he was unwell, that is what he writes. And then Justice R.C. Lahoti looked at him and said, Mr. Nariman, it's time for you to retire. Why I say he was humble, he had no reason to write this in his autobiography. But he realized that he was not right in shouting at a young additional Solicitor General. So he has penned it in his book. That is the greatness of this man. Bapsi Nariman was the Chief Justice at home, and Fali Nariman was the judge. So Mrs. Nariman ruled the house, and they were so attached that in one interview after Mrs. Nariman passed away, the great man broke down. And I have seen in many dinners, later part of Mrs. Nariman's wife, she would be on a wheelchair and Mr. Nariman would be pushing the wheelchair into dinners. So that is what you can understand how close they were. I have already taken a lot of time beyond the time allotted by my Chief Justice. 5 days before he embarked on his final journey, at the age 95, Mr. Nariman writes a letter to Mr. Prashant Bhushan after the electoral bond judgment of the Supreme Court. And this is for my lords. And I quote, Dear Prashant, hearty congratulations on the well-deserved victory. I am particularly impressed that 5-judge bench has held in no uncertain terms that manifest arbitrariness is enacted law is now an integral part of Article 14, differing from the 3-judge bench decision of Jeevan Reddy J, since Article 14 and 21 are interrelated, and since Article 21 has been authoritatively reworded by the 9-judge bench in privacy case, I do hope that this will enable Constitutional Supreme Court at some point in the future to strike down the no bail for now provisions in recently enacted laws. Meanwhile, I wish you more grease to your elbow. Fali Nariman. Till the end, his mind was as agile as ever, and his heart always wedded to the rule of law. As they say, old soldiers never die, they only fade away. Grand old men only die, but they never fade away. Mr. Nariman, as we fondly called him, shall be remembered and his uprightness deeply cherished. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful anecdotes. May I now humbly request His Lordship Honorable Sri Justice Debabrata Das, Judge, High Court of Orissa, and Chairman, Odisha Judicial Academy and Training Committee, to kindly address this esteemed gathering. Your Lordship, please.
A very good evening to all who are present here. My Lord Honorable Mr. Justice Chakradhari Sharan Singh, Chief Justice of Odisha High Court and Patron-in-Chief of this Judicial Academy, Honorable Dr. Justice B.R. Sarangi, Judge, Odisha High Court, Honorable Dr. Justice S.K. Panigrahi, Judge, High Court of Orissa and member of our Training and Academy and Training Committee, Honorable Judges of our High Court who are sitting here off the dais, Mr. A.K. Parija, Learned Advocate General Odisha, Mr. P.K. Pari, Learned Deputy Solicitor General, Mr. Dharanidhar Nayak, President Odisha High Court Bar Association, respected senior advocates who are present here, Registrar General and his team, dear judicial officers present, Mr. Sitangshu Dwivedi, Chairman State Bar Council, Odisha, and all other esteemed participants from across the bar bench, ladies and gentlemen. We have gathered here this evening to salute the eternal memory of Fali Nariman, an acknowledged and recognized doyen of the bar who passed away on 21st February 2024 at the age of 95 years. He represented the first generation of lawyers who practiced law after the Constitution of India came into force. The passing of Fali Nariman has left a legacy to be followed by hundreds of thousands of legal professionals in this country. He was not only an advocate par excellence, but a great jurist and above all a great human being. It is apt to say that he generated many generations of advocates as well as judges. It is well known that the legal acumen of Fali S. Nariman was second to none, but his constitutional vision was even much wider. It was aiding every day and every minute and every second of his life till he breathed his last. He was instrumental in the development of constitutional law in India. In a plethora of cases where he appeared before the Honorable Supreme Court, I need not quote all those. Interpretation of constitutional law was always the core subject. His personality was not only limited to the courts where he practiced law. He was a great scholar, author, and a jurist, and for his contribution to the field of jurisprudence and public affairs, he was bestowed with second and third civilian award of our country, namely Padma Vibhushan and Padma Bhushan. The books authored by him, namely India's Legal System, Can It Be Saved, Before Memory Fades, The State of Nation, give a deep insight into his deep level of understanding of the Indian legal system. No doubt, the mortal persona of Mr. Fali S. Nariman would no more be visible, but his life and achievements are immortal, and it will remain vibrant in our memories for many ages to come. He will always be a guiding light for the upcoming generation of lawyers, legal professionals, and judges. I pray Almighty God for salvation of the departed soul, and I extend my heartfelt condolence to the bereaved family of Mr. Nariman and dedicate this obituary of mine to his towering personality. Peace be with you, Sir Fali Sam Nariman.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for your inspirational words. May I now humbly request His Lordship Honorable Dr. Justice Vidyut Ranjan Sarangi, Judge, High Court of Orissa, to kindly address this dignified gathering. Your Lordship, please.
Good evening. My esteemed Honorable Justice Chakradhari Sharan Singh, the Chief Justice of High Court of Orissa, come Patron Chief, Odisha Judicial Academy. Respected Honorable Sri Justice Deborah Das, Judge, High Court of Orissa, come Chairman, Odisha Judicial Academy and Training Committee. Honorable Dr. Justice S.K. Panigrahi, Judge, High Court of Orissa and Member, Odisha Judicial Academy and Training Committee. All other sister and brother judges present here. Respected Ashok Kumar Parija, the Advocate General of the Odisha, along with his law officers of the government present here. Sri Prasanna Kumar Pari, Deputy Solicitor General of India for High Court of Orissa, along with his team. Sri Dhanindra Naik, President Odisha High Court Bar Association and all executive body members present here, along with the members of the bar who are present here also. Mr. Shitanshu Dwivedi, Chairman of the Bar Council of Odisha. Respected senior members of the bar present here. Mr. Pratap Kumar Patra, the Registrar General, High Court of Orissa, and his team. District and Session Judge Cuttack and all the judicial officers of the Cuttack present here. Sri Badrinath Nanda, the Director in charge of Judicial Academy and his team. Mr. Sudipta Acharya, the Member Secretary, Odisha State Legal Service Authority and his team. Members of the print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. By this time, everybody must be knowing why we have assembled here. It is nothing but to pay a floral tribute to an eminent lawyer, statesman of the country, late Fali Sam Nariman, who is no more with us and left us for heavenly abode at the age of 95 years age, and is a great loss not only to the legal fraternity but also to the entire nation. His father, Sam B. Nariman, went to Rangoon from Mumbai to establish a new India assurance company and promote his business, where he met Banu Nariman, who was 16 years younger to him and they got married in the year 1928, and Fali Nariman was born to Sam and Banu Nariman in the year 1930, and had his early education up to class 8 at Burma. Thereafter, due to the Second World War, they have to come to India. Consequence thereof, Mr. Fali Sam Nariman joined junior chemistry classes of Bishop Cotton College, Cotton School, Simla in the year 1942-43, and passed senior Cambridge in first division in the year 1944. Thereafter, he prosecuted his graduation from St. Xavier College, Mumbai, from 1944 to 1948. After his graduation, he joined Government Law College, Bombay, and prosecuted his studies from 1948 to 1950. And he passed his LLB examination in first division with distinction, having stood second position and got gold medal in jurisprudence. Fali Nariman, while prosecuting his law studies, had the privilege of getting law education from eminent personality of legal fraternity like Mr. Y.B. Chandrachud, later on became the Chief Justice of India, Naniya Palkiwala, and Jal Bimar Lal, the eminent lawyers of the country, along with other eminent teachers of law, by whom he had been inspired a lot at the teenage and chosen the law as a career, though it was difficult to choose this said career at the teenage. After choosing the law as a career, he had undergone meticulous training under the eminent lawyer by joining in the office of Judge Singh Kanga, who used to say, I quote, "Lawyers never stops learning the law," unquote. When you mention famous racehorse, they always ask you from which stable. This stable is important. It establishes ancestry, pedigree, and the breed. Likewise, when you name a lawyer, you had done well. The people ask you, I quote, from which chamber, unquote. The chamber is important. It establishes a hierarchy, culture, and tradition which the lawyer receives. He joined the Bombay Bar in the year 1950. Next to his father, Fali Nariman has highest reverence and affection for Justice Kanga, the senior under whom he has undergone the training. At the bar, a young lawyer learns much just by listening to professional giants and watching their performances. He had passion to learn and had conducted the cases for and against many celebrity lawyers of India. Honorable Justice M.C. Chagla was the brightest and best judge of his time, who inspired him how to conduct himself in the court. Fali Nariman was frequently asked by the law students, which Mr. Ashok Parij has already explained, that he said you have to do as best as you can. The essence of good lawyering is acquaintancy of oneself with the relevant fact, including the case law on the subject at the hand. Therefore, the essence of good advocacy is to know the facts of your case and then apply law to those facts. When you argue a case in court, be clear and precise and not confused. Always think like a lawyer, not like a philosopher. When a judge wants to know something, you must tell him now and not later. Be updated with all reported judgments and decisions of the Supreme Court and High Courts. As always, it is your duty to bring to the attention of the court the case already decided on the point being argued, then distinguish your case from the decided case, and never cite an overruled case, it is improper. He bears high standards of etiquette while arguing a case with much humility, honesty, integrity, and sincerity, with all politeness, but with all fairness. His way of approach is absolutely bears a high standard of responsibility. He married to Bapsi contractor in 1955 and blessed with one son, Honorable Justice Rohinton Fali Nariman, and daughter Anahita, who were also excellent in their respective field. Interestingly, Indian Constitution having come into force in 1949, he joined the bar in the year 1950 and had seen transformation of constitutional mandate. In Shankar Prasad case 1951, the validity of the amendment to the Constitution was considered, and in 1965 the same was considered in Sharan Singh case, and he has the privilege to argue Goloknath versus State of Punjab before 11 judges of the Supreme Court, which was reconsidered in Kesavanda Bharati in the year 1973 before 13 judges. But by that time, he was appointed as Additional Solicitor General of India from 1972 to 1975. Therefore, he could not address the court insofar as the Kesavanda Bharati case is concerned. But due to the internal emergency, he has to resign from his office in 1975. That shows the high standard of moral he bears and high standard of responsibility he carries. And his participation in many crucial cases has made decisive impact on the nation, especially on the interpretation of law. His endeavor to combat the cancer of corruption from the process of law is well known. He has reached the pinnacle of success in his profession. He was selected as the member of the Rajya Sabha and contributed a lot, both judicial as well as political side. Whatever achievement he has acquired and whatever words we are going to express will be much less than what he has actually possessed. Such a towering personality, who has been conferred with many national and international awards, is no more with us, but his contribution to legal fraternity will remain forever. I have my own experience when I was assisting my esteemed senior, late Gangadhar Rath. You won't imagine the way of preparation we have to do to combat Fali's Nariman in the case itself. Because my senior was very serious when he sees the opponent that Nariman is appearing. In that case, we have to prepare, even if matter pending, he is arguing matter in Supreme Court also, all the briefs are coming to Cuttack, and we are preparing for day in, day out to combat him. And ultimately, if he succeeds, then my senior will feel happy that Fali's Nariman had argued this point, but you have to meet that point, how we have to place the same so that we can succeed in the case. Really, both the champions in the law have argued the matter. It is really worth learning, and definitely I can vouch to say that if you ask the pedigree of any situation, if you ask about the lawyer that from which chamber he belongs, then I will definitely feel proud of myself that I belong to the chamber of late Gangadhar Rath. But that is my credibility, that is my identity, that is my own stability, but that itself has got its own meaning to say that if we conduct a case with the eminent lawyers of this country, that itself gives you immense knowledge and perseverance and hard work to sustain in the profession itself. I am so delighted that we have got opportunity to conduct a case against Fali's Nariman, the great doyen of the bar. Therefore, I, on behalf of self and on my sister and brother judges, express deep condolence and give floral tribute, and also pray Lord Sri Jagannath to rest his soul in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for your enlightening words. Now, it is my distinct honor and privilege to humbly request His Lordship, Honorable Sri Justice Chakradhari Sharan Singh, the Chief Justice, High Court of Orissa, and Patron-in-Chief, Odisha Judicial Academy, to kindly address this august gathering and deliver the concluding remarks. Your Lordship.
my sister and brother judges on the dais and of the dais, Mr. Ashok Kumar Parija, Learned Advocate General Odisha, Mr. Dharnidhar Nayak, Learned President and other office bearers of Odisha High Court Bar Association, Mr. P.K. Padhi, Learned Deputy Solicitor General Government of India, Mr. Sitanshu Dwivedi, the Chairman Odisha State Bar Council, and other office bearers and learned members of the Bar Council present, learned senior advocates and advocates, learned District Judge Cuttack, learned Registrar General and other members of the Odisha High Court Registry, officers and staff of the Odisha Judicial Academy, Member Secretary and other officers of Odisha State Legal Services Authority, representatives of media, ladies and gentlemen, Subha Sandhya. I fully endorse what all has been stated by the previous speakers, paying rich tributes to a doyen of the bar, late Fali Sam Nariman. I cannot tell you how small I feel when I stand up before you to pay tributes to the giant, late Fali Sam Nariman, on his departure to the heavenly abode. A child grows with an impression during his initial years that his or her parents are immortals and ever protective, unaware of the dynamics of birth and death. He realizes only later that one day he or she will be losing them, to his shock and dismay. Rarely, though, it happens that some people in different walks of life, by their accomplishments, stature, and deep commitment to serve the institutions and the humanity, acquire a status whom we call a father figure, about whom too we start believing that he will remain a father figure for the times to come, to later realize that he too may be leaving us. Let Fali S. Nariman was that fatherly figure in the field of law who left us on the last Wednesday, on 21st of February 2024. He was born in Rangoon on 10th January 1929. In his autobiography, Before Memory Fades, he describes his childhood as a cloudlessly happy one. However, the sky was not meant to remain that bright all the days, and issues, maladies started to crop up when Japan bombed Rangoon. He had no other way to migrate from that place, and after a turbulent phase, he came down to Simla for schooling. He studied in Bishop Cotton School, Simla. He eventually landed in Mumbai for pursuing his law in the historic Government Law College, Mumbai. He was enrolled as an advocate of the Bombay High Court in 1950. He was designated as senior advocate in 1971. He practiced in the High Court of Bombay till 1971 and moved to New Delhi in May 1972 upon his appointment as an additional Solicitor General of India. He resigned after imposition of internal emergency in 1975, and since then he was in private practice. In recognition of his distinguished services in the field of jurisprudence, he was awarded Padma Bhushan by the President of India in 1991, and later, in recognition of exceptional and distinguished services in the field of public affairs, Padma Bhushan award was conferred upon him in 2007. In the year 2018, 9th Lal Bahadur Shastri Award for Excellence in Public Administration was conferred upon him. He had a distinguished career at the bar for more than 7 decades. He was an acclaimed jurist, a social activist, and a lover of freedom. He was forthright while expressing his views on any aspect. He appeared in almost all important cases in the Supreme Court of India involving the constitutional issues. In fact, I have learned today so many things from the Advocate General, Mr. Ashok Kumar Parija, while he was remembering Mr. Nariman. He appeared in almost all important cases in the Supreme Court of India involving the constitutional issues. As a senior lawyer, he argued many important cases which brought a revolution in the legal and constitutional landscape of the country. He was the lead arguing counsel in the famous second judge's case, in which the Supreme Court laid foundation for introduction of collegium system for appointment of judges to constitutional courts. He later argued TMA Pai versus State of Karnataka, which redefined the status of minority educational institutions. Besides that, he also argued the fourth judge's case, that is Supreme Court's Advocates on Record Association versus Union of India 2015, which declared 19th Amendment to the Constitution as ultra vires the Constitution, which proposed National Judicial Appointment Commission for appointment of judges in the constitutional courts. In addition, he authored few books, including, as has been referred, Before the Memory Fades, an autobiography, The State of the Nation, and few other books. His departure has impoverished the legal system and has created a void not to be easily filled. It's an end of an era. I pay my sincere tributes to let Fali S. Nariman. Today, I am going to make a request to Honorable Chairman, Bihar Judicial Academy. Odisha Judicial Academy to arrange memorial lecture series in Odisha Judicial Academy in the memory of late Fali S. Nariman. I hope he will be accepting my request today itself. With these words, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for your gracious and educative words. Before we conclude, may I humbly request the distinguished dignitaries on and off the dais, as well as our esteemed guests, to kindly rise at their respective places and join us for a brief yet significant 2 minutes of silent prayer in the memory of the eternal soul of Fali Sam Nariman, to reflect and cherish the legacy of this legal titan who is no longer amidst us but continues to inspire us from his heavenly abode. Thank you. This brings us to the end of today's special program. We would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the honorable high dignitaries and distinguished guests for their presence here today in this program. It has truly been an honor to be a part of such a distinct gathering. Thank you. Namaskar. Before I take your leave, we humbly invite everyone present here to kindly join us for high tea. Thank you.